Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be breaking down another huge storm that'll be coming to the United States next week. And this storm is going to bring even more severe weather to the Great Plains, the Midwest, and perhaps even the Ohio Valley and maybe even the Mississippi Valley. This is going to bring the threat for more damaging winds, more large hail, and tornadoes by the tail end of the week, and as well as into the weekend. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast, but let's begin first with what's happening right now in the United States today, which actually it's pretty active right now, especially back down in the southern plains. Notice we actually have some large storm activity happening across Texas and even Arkansas. We have had a couple of severe storms out of this morning. Overall though, most of this activity is just heavy rainfall that is going to continue for the next several hours, and also any severe weather that is happening today is going to be very elevated, meaning really the only concern I'm expecting is hail and maybe some damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. But overall, the threat of severe weather quite low. Showers and thunderstorms moving across Texas right now. Upwards of 1 to 3 inches of rain will fall in some areas. Back over on the East Coast, things remain a little bit more on the active side, especially back up in the Northeast, where that disturbance that brought the severe weather outbreak to areas in Illinois the other day is now moving off to the east. By the way, we are now up to 9 confirmed tornadoes near the St. Louis area from a couple of days ago, so that was obviously a large event. More than likely it'll be named a tornado outbreak, but if not, it was at least a severe weather outbreak there across areas like Illinois and eastern Missouri. And then back in the southeast, things relatively dry. Florida is about to have the warmest day that they've had all year long, perhaps even some record-breaking high temperatures. And then the west coast, really dry right now, and this is the kind of weather that most of the United States will deal with, at least as we go into early next week. But with that being said, a large storm is coming by the end of the week, and that will obviously go away once that happens. Believe it or not, we actually have a huge cold blast coming to the country this weekend. Many of you have already felt this, but this is a large cold air mass that we're dealing with right now, which this is all below average temperatures that are happening across the northern and central tier of the country. This will all usher into areas like the southern plains and the east coast as we go into Sunday and Monday. We'll even get another deep shot of cold air across the northeast as we go into late Monday into Tuesday, but eventually as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, the warmer air will return and more spring-like weather will return as well. But this kind of temperature anomaly that we have here as we go into Saturday into Sunday is going to feel a lot more like the weather that we typically see at the end of February. So it's going to get quite cold. The only thing is it's not going to bring any snowfall. Here are the high temperatures for today. Notice many areas only in the 50s across Texas and even back into Tennessee. Definitely a chilly day overall. I would have to say though, the rain that's happening there is definitely supporting that temperature difference. And then as we go into tonight, temperatures will barely fall in DFW. We're going to go from 55 degrees for a temperature this afternoon to 53 tomorrow morning. Many areas though in the Midwest will drop below freezing, and then once we go into Monday morning, maybe a few more areas in the Northeast dropping below freezing, but nothing rare by any means up that direction. Many of those areas do still see some occasional freezing in April and even sometimes early May. Here's the future radar for the rest of this weekend. We'll be dealing with plenty of rain across the southern plains where flooding will be a possibility. Isolated severe weather still a potential, but overall very low threat, and I'm not concerned about it, and I'm not going live for it because it's just not concerning. Once we go into Sunday into Monday, that activity moves to the east coast and eventually offshore, and we'll be done with this rain as we go into early Monday. Maybe some lingering showers and thunderstorms along that cold frontal boundary in Florida as we go into late Monday into Tuesday, and then another disturbance will impact the Midwest, which I will talk about here in just a second, and that would be on Tuesday. Total rainfall accumulation between now and through about Monday or so, which most of this is going to fall today and early tomorrow morning. Many areas will see between 1 to 3 inches of rain. There will be some isolated spots in central and southern Texas that get as much as 4 to 5 inches of rain. Wouldn't even rule out an isolated area near 6 inches of rainfall. Unfortunately, we are going to be dealing with a multi-day severe weather event by the tail end of this upcoming week, and it's all going to begin on tossing trampolines on tall trees Thursday. The Storm Prediction Center has already issued a slight risk for severe weather. This includes areas like Kansas, north central Texas, and much of western Oklahoma, but this is really not going to be the most concerning day. I'm going to be honest with you, this might just be some large hail and damaging winds, probably going to stay around a slight risk for severe weather. Main concern will be Thursday evening. Once we go into Friday, it's a much larger area, and Saturday could even be worse than this. But right now there is a slight risk for severe weather across much of the western Midwest. That does include Illinois. This also goes back into Oklahoma, much of Missouri, Arkansas, even Kansas and southeast Nebraska, and a large chunk of Iowa are included in this slight risk for severe weather. Now, since we're 7 days out, they're obviously not going to really increase the risk, since there is still some potential that this does change, and the area of where the greatest severe weather is could also change as we get closer. So there's only going to be a slight risk for now, but this very easily will probably get upgraded to an enhanced risk as we get closer, and possibly even higher than that with the current ingredients that we have with this particular severe weather event. And keep in mind, severe weather is definitely possible on Saturday and Sunday, but as of right now, we are still multiple days out, so confidence on the exact area does remain uncertain. Here's the low-level jet for the next several days, and I wanted to show you this for this particular severe weather setup, because as we go into Thursday, the low-level jet will not be super organized or strong across the central and southern plains, so I don't think we're going to have a significant tornado risk on Thursday, unless some other ingredients come together as we go into Thursday evening. But once we go into Friday afternoon and evening, that is when I do think the low-level jet will become much more intense, and that is when I think we'll have a better shot there of a tornado risk across parts of the western Midwest and much of the mid to upper Mississippi Valley. Now, I do want to remind you that we are still several days out, so the ingredients and everything could still change, but the computer models have been very consistent on the placement of this severe weather and also the intensity with that tornado, hail, and wind risk. So just keep that in mind. Again, there's no reason to panic. We're still several days out. There's a lot of things that could change in between now and then. So I did want to point out the instability that we're going to have available all week long, and the instability is essentially like putting gasoline into a vehicle. It's what fuels severe weather. Now, overall, as we go through Monday and Tuesday, things remain really quiet across the country. I'm not expecting any sort of significant severe weather event. We might get an isolated threat of severe weather on Wednesday in like West Texas with maybe some hail and wind, but that's really about it. Once we go into Thursday, the instability will become much more organized, meaning that we'll likely get some sort of risk of severe weather going on late Thursday into Friday, which is where we have that slight risk for severe weather. And by the time we go into Flying Fences Friday, we do have a large area of instability that'll be available from Iowa back into Oklahoma. Instability values upwards of 2,500 joules per kilogram is pretty high, so we'll definitely have enough instability for severe weather. By Saturday morning, the severe weather, if it does reach areas like Chicago and Wisconsin, it's going to probably be a pretty low risk overall. I do think if we get any sort of organized threat of severe weather, it would probably not be until either Sunday or Monday, which as of right now, or even maybe Tuesday. I'm not seeing a whole lot here that really would represent a significant severe weather potential with instability, but we could still get severe weather. It's just going to depend again on the other ingredients that are in place, like dew points, and as well as the shear, the veering profiles, all that sort of stuff, which again is something that we'll really not know until at least a few more days from now. Now let's go through the future radar, give you an idea of what's happening for the next few days. Again, this will be the Midwest disturbance that will impact those areas on Tuesday and Wednesday. Mostly just some showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, but I'm not expecting severe weather. By Wednesday, perhaps a couple of storms in Oklahoma and as well as Kansas. Again, maybe some isolated severe weather out of that. By Thursday evening, some severe weather will be possible, but it'll probably hold off until the late evening into the overnight hours. By Friday, a more significant and robust severe weather event is likely across Iowa, Missouri, and maybe even down through Oklahoma, and then we'll probably get a line of storms during the evening. By Saturday morning, another shot for showers and storms will exist in areas like the Great Lakes region and back through Oklahoma, where more severe weather cannot be ruled out. And by the time we go into Sunday evening, there will be another shot for severe weather across a large area from the Midwest back through Texas, but this remains highly uncertain because we are still over 7 days out on this particular event. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already.